Sofascore is actually only based on numbers, data.
If you have the data and that nobody else has, you have the power to engage and collect more eyes, more users.
How do you use that data to create an effective user experience and just use it for further business growth?
Find the smallest thing that you can develop and see if it sticks. Everything else costs you more, and there is a great possibility that you will develop something that does not resonate with the user.
How quickly can you see what works and what doesn't work?
You need some kind of feel for that. It's not just, numbers and science. You need some sense of sports, some sense of that domain, and you need to know the user.
So what do you think, what sport has the most interesting statistics? I know it's football, but
Yeah, football has the deepest one, the most abundant data of all sports. But if I have to pick one, I'm a bit emotional about it since it was my first serious project in Sofascore. I would pick cricket. Why? Because we have some data charts that nobody has. There are many specialized cricket applications like ClickBuzz and all these other that are top-notch applications, but they do not have the same visual representation of the data that we have. There is a chart we call wagon wheel, and these are the trajectories of the balls that are being, kicked in the cricket. We have, these maps that show how the ball touched the ground in cricket. And it's funny because none of us is really expert in cricket. And that's the one I can choose. That's the one I would pick for today.
all right. So statistics are something that is very much the base of your business.
Yeah.
All right. Sofascore. Sofascore is an live score app. Actually, a little bit more than that. You have over 25, 28 million users?
28 and coming up.
Coming up. Yeah. How did Sofascore start? You can just give us a brief introduction. Yeah, about the timeline.
Yes.
How did it go?
Okay. I will not, since I was not there from the beginning, I will not, mention specific years, but it was founded by two founders, great friends, Ivan and Zlatko. And it was not the Sofascore that was the first project. There were many previous projects, but the most successful one was Cesarica. It was a web forum with all different topics from readings for school to lyrics from the songs. Even the name of the forum is the name of the song from Olga Dragojevic, our famous singer and songwriter. And all these topics, and they came even with the sport topics. And what they noticed, and Ivan and Zlatko are really great in experimenting different, business opportunities, potential, all that. What Cesarica offered them is a little experiment tool for digital marketing. You could use the crowd and the users that were reading the forum to see how they stick to certain topics. And what they noticed, and it was a good, hunch, that the football topics produce the most traffic, most engagement. There is a lot of, emotion related to football. We are all aware of that, but there is a lot of emotion in football. And where there is emotion, that produces engagement, where there is engagement on the web or any other digital marketing platform, as I call it, there is opportunity for good business. And they started, they said, okay, let's build an app that shows football scores for the beginning. And they started and they developed Sofascore Web. That was the birth of Sofascore Web. And after that, they said, okay, they had this really cool guy, CTO, Josip Stuhli, that is really the technology, Ibergeek, I call him. And they were really, informed about the technology, what will come next. So they very quickly switched, let's not just do web, let's do Android and iOS applications as well. And that were the key, strategic moments, to expand your crowd, because there were not so many applications at that point of time. And then the key project, I would say, is Sofascore Football Player Statistical Rating, which summarizes around 200 and even more specific statistical data into one number that says, that informs you the best on the performance of single player during the match and overall performance of the team on the match. So this is a short history. Then we added additional sports, additional languages, additional support for different markets. And it grew, I would say, organically from that. It was not pushed by some large investments. It was really, the users liked us and still do.
All right. You came to Sofascore about 3 years ago. You are the CPO, Chief Product Officer, driving the product car. Let's call it that way. But what did you do before that? You have a little bit of a different background, not so, let's say, business oriented, but a bit more technical.
Yes, I was really deep into software development, and I really liked it. I really liked to put my head earrings on and just deep into the code. I really liked it, and in parallel, I had a music career. It's a really strange one. When I started, my journey in university, computer science, in parallel, I was playing our traditional instrument, tamburica, on wedding parties and funerals. And what from one side, my week looked like, from Monday to Friday, I was geeky developer, and Saturday and Sunday, I was among people, meeting people, playing with people, had this really, I would say, emotional relationship. A wedding in Slavonia, where I came from, is a special occasion. It's really emotional. And from Monday to Friday, you are really, science-based objective, mathematics, and doing a lot of code. Uh, what do you get when you merge software developer and tamburica player? You get chief product officer. Uh, my background in product management is not, only Sofascore. I did a lot of enterprise products. So these are real business products. And I think it was 7 or 8 years I worked as a sort of head of software development and head of product management in the company that I was working previously. And it helped me a lot. But it's really interesting, when you are working product for the business, there is smaller amount of people that you are speaking to, that are your public, let's say, that are your users. When you come to Sofascore, there's 28 plus million monthly active users. If we count all the users that've seen Sofascore, it would be way over 100 million. And you need to satisfy them, the crucial amount of users you need to satisfy. That's why I'm saying that, because you need some kind of feel for that. It's not just, numbers and science. You need some sense of sports, some sense of that domain, and you need to know the user. And we'll speak about it.
All right, so you managed to pretty much, let's say, connect the technical part and the instrument playing part with actually the people part. Yeah, that's right. That actually helps you put all together and become a product manager. As a chief product officer, one of your main responsibilities is develop features that are gonna help get more users and ultimately just earn more money. So how do you develop some of those features? How do you get the idea? How do you actually decide, all right, so we're gonna do this? So how do you do that?
So the role of chief product officer, the ideal of that role is, people are doing everything correct and you're just watching. uh, there is an abundance of ideas at Sofascore, because we have almost every of our employee was Sofascore user even before he was, he joined the Sofascore team, including me. And when you come, first day you have a bunch of ideas out, and then you see, all of these ideas have been already proposed, and many of those have been rejected at some point of time. So our employees are the major, source of the ideas, but not the only one. And we are watching a lot of feedback from our users. There are multiple ways they communicate to us. One is through feedback on the app stores. A lot of our users are writing to support. This was great. Please add this one. It will help us for that and that. And also, what we do is a lot of UX research. That's called qualitative research, where you are interviewing the users and some other people that are not our users, and you can also get some ideas from that. There are also quantitative research, and the one I really like is Net Promoter Score, NPS, where you get these numbers that show you how your platform is being perceived, or is it something that people will promote to other users. But what I like to read, and I encourage product managers to read, is there are open questions where people type comments, bad and good, and I always focus first on the bad, because every bad comment is possible idea that could produce outcome that we would like.
Constructive feedback.
Yeah. And what is my role in all of that? How do we pick the idea to work on? Well, we have one liner goal that is on top of it all, and that's we would like to be number one sports platform in the world. So it was first live score application. Now there are multiple applications and product lines that we do not call ourselves only live score application anymore. We call ourselves sports platform. That's something that we would like to be, number one sports platform. And then the task of the board, and including me, Chief Product Officer, is to create a framework where all these different teams would pick the right ideas that would lead us to that goal. It's not simple, but that is my main task in the company, and to push the product managers to know the users. And this is the main information, the main data that you should use to pick all these ideas, because we have abundance of ideas, and the right ones are the ones that user like and that would lead us to be number one.
Did you come with the Sofascore rating like that way?
Yes, because some websites had already that rating, but it was not on the level that we had it.
Right.
And we noticed that there was engagement related to that rating, and first releases showed it as well. First releases of Sofascore statistical player rating, were not the most stable one. There were many gaps in the actual ratings, because it is being calculated automatically. And you would see a lot of engagement and a lot of reaction to the Sofascore ratings on the Twitter, then Twitter, now X, and other platforms, and that is a good sign that there is something in it. And if there is a rumor about it, there is engagement in it, and there is a good business opportunity.
How many facts, statistics, or numbers do you have in the Sofascore rating?
I don't know the exact number.
A
I
lot.
know it's more than 200.
More than 200.
Yeah, and you need really some time to sift through it and to know which one represents actually which event on the
And it's updated live during the match.
updated live.
Because I read somewhere that I think it updates 60 times per, let's say, a football match or something like that. Yeah. Okay. What feature wasn't really successful, or which one you thought, all right, let's go with this, but in the end you decided, all right, it's not going to work out?
Okay, I would first say what success means to us. Then I would say, what has been successful and what not. So, uh, most of the companies in Croatia, IT tech companies, are in some kind of mode of agency. And the main goal of agency is to make customer satisfied. Somebody orders a feature or an app from the company, and you have to make him satisfied. So your main goal of success is, deliver whatever customer has requested, deliver it in time, deliver it so that the customer is satisfied. And the customer has a business of his own, and he really knows, was that feature really successful for his business or not. When you are a product company, you're actually that customer. And each feature that you develop, I cannot remember one feature that we have developed that was not, done right. It was developed, it was not buggy. There are always bugs, but no critical bugs that would, destroy the app. That design was, really, really, really bad. It was all developed good and released and on store, and people are watching. What success represents for us is, our users, do users really like the feature, and are they using it? And does this engagement produce, additional traffic that we can monetize? That's our measurement of success. In that context, I have to mention two projects. One is mixed martial arts that we developed. No other application has near number of features and details and statistics as we do. And the other one is cricket. We have a lot of features, nobody has it, but we are not in that culture, and we still do not know how to represent these features for specific culture and markets that like cricket. So about MMA, the key thing is, if there are sports events, there is engagement. If there are more sports events, there is more engagement. If there are less sports events, we have less engagement. So we are sports app. If there's no sport, there's no engagement. So Corona for us was, really bad.
Hectic.
Yeah, really bad situation. So what was with MMA? We didn't do our homework. We were learning and still learning, and now we know some facts that we did not consider back then. MMA is a sport that only has events on weekends, and these events there are not so many events. And we put a lot of investment into the feature itself. We put a lot of features into it for the first release, and we did not do the math. This is the amount of events. This is the amount of possible users that will, access. So we are still working to see that output of MMA is right for us. This is a success. About the cricket, as I said, we were not. Cricket is sort of a culture. There are different modes of cricket. Now, I do not know in details. There are different types of games. Some of the really traditional games last for several days. So it's not something that we are used to. I think even USA sports last longer than European sports. So not the sports that are most popular in the USA last longer than the sports that are most popular in
Yeah, especially baseball or something.
baseball, even American football. It lasts more. And European, user customer would not watch it all the time. Cricket is, way over. And US sports, it has the rules that are specific for these different types. It also will speak later about the user experience. So you can have the best UI, you can have the best, interactions and least clicks for everything. But if your data is not right, if the user, for example, I'm a user from India, and I'm trying to find Indian match, and it's way below, on multiple scrolls, and Australian match is the first, I will not watch it. So these are just, these nuances that we need to fix, and these are really, culture specific. and we learned our lessons. So these are two, in sense of output, building, development, design, it's great. In sense of to see the real output, the real results that confirm that the users are really using it, I would say these are not so successful.
Yeah, you actually need to find someone. Let's say if it's cricket, it's the most popular sport in India.
You need to find a consultant
Or
Yeah.
Pakistan,
Yeah.
So two big countries, so you need somebody from there who is seeing it firsthand, to help you out.
Yeah.
And now that I mentioned that, you actually do that. But that I mean, you do crowdsourcing. You have an editor feature where a person, just a regular person, has the ability to write scores. Let's say if we're talking about a football match, write scores, write penalties, fouls, and so on. What does that process look like? I mean, it really differentiates you from other apps out there. But let's say, what's the process of getting somebody, to become an editor? Because you need to trust them, you need to have them vetted, and in order, to be sure that they're gonna be somebody a trustful source.
Of There are different categories in these users that use editor, but I will mention one that I really like. There are companies that are producing data for all these different matches, sports, leagues, tournaments. This is their business, and they're selling the data. And they will always focus on the top leagues in specific countries, and top league, that is their priority. And that leaves a lot of space for smaller leagues, even the first one in some countries, top league in that country, but it's not interesting globally. And other amateur leagues and semi-professional leagues that are not in some cases in any way digitally covered. You cannot find it on the internet. I will give example of Libya. Libya first national team was not digitized in any way. And what these enthusiasts want, they want to be seen. They want to be, they want to have the record of their tournaments, rounds, recorded somewhere digitally, and ideally be presented to the whole world. And Sofascore offers them that opportunity, and I think nobody else does in that way. So these are really, sports enthusiasts often involved in the organization of these tournaments, and they are typing, data and giving us opportunity to display it, to the world, and giving them, channel to display it to the world. There are some funny cases also where people want to work for us to input any data. They think that Sofascore editor is a tool that they will get paid through, or be our associate or contractor, to type in the data. And there are some people that just like to be part of something, and they feel really proud when they pick random tournament in their country or any other country, and they set it up in the editor and see in Sofascore. They probably brag about it to some colleagues or friends, and they are users. And the third group is professional sports organizations. When you say sports organization, you automatically mean highness. So some, football association. But there are many sports that do not have proper digital tools to record, like rugby or padel or some different sports, and they are the third, we call them, B2B, business to business customers that we have some relationship with, and we are offering them a tool to have some digital tool to record all the live results and tournament data. And what we noticed also with these organizations, there is additional set of features that they require that somehow, you can group them as sports management tools. There are some additional, features that are not just results, not just the tournament, like injuries, rosters, and some other business data they need to they need to manage somehow. And that's the third, I would say, group that use the editor. And fourth is the one that is really crazy. These are random anonymous people that are watching the matches and not using editor, but rather using Sofascore, because you can find for specific matches, you can find crowdsourcing forums to pick up live results and even other some data when you are watching the game, whether you are on a pitch. We even when you are watching some game on a video stream, people are typing the results, and it's creating different kind of buzz around SofaScore.
Yeah, you're creating a community.
Yeah, we are creating.
One of the things that I've noticed when I was, let's say, going through some of the lower ranks of the Croatian football association was, let's say, the fourth rank. There was one club, and I noticed they had the whole table, standings and scores and everything. And they gathered that from you, which is free, actually. They integrate your, let's say, live tables to their web pages.
Yeah.
And that's about one of the things that you give to the community that's for free. You can freely use that, and that's, actually the goal, just building the community and making something that's a little bit more than pure app
Yeah.
use. SofaScore is actually only based on numbers, data. How do you use that data to create an effective user experience and just use it for further business growth?
Mhm. So we are not seeing ourselves as any kind of data provider in the at least not in the near future. It's not on our list of strategic goals. But what we like with that data and what we want to do with that data is, if you have some kind of data and nobody else has it, there is a certain amount of people that will look for that data. Let's say I always get an example in Kabibinia. That's a football club in our coast, and it has 100 or 200 followers in SofaScore. And if these citizens of Bibinia would like to know how their football team played last match, they would type it in Google. And if nobody else has it, the SofaScore will be first one to on Google listing. Now the numbers are, there are not many followers comparing to Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Enka Bibinia, but there are a lot of Enka Bibinia around the world. So that is the power of data. If you have the data and that nobody else has, you have the power to engage and collect more eyes, more users. That is the way we use it right now. We do not sell it. We also use it. You mentioned, we offer these widgets. We call them widgets. So anyone can, put on their websites the standings, the pictures, and the results. It's also, we are not selling them the data, but we are in that way authority for that league. And search engine optimization noticed this stuff. It gives us power, to build the community and traffic on our website. And that is the way we use the data. And of course, if you have detailed data, people will engage more. So it's not just the match, it's match and result. That's the first level. But if you have deeper data, assists, substitutes, red, yellow cards, and all of that, it builds up even more.
What's your approach, let's say, with your product designers and UX researchers? How do you successfully integrate them into agile teams? Because, all right, so it's all data, which means, all right, everything's for developers, they're good with numbers. But you really need to have good product designers and UX researchers just to understand what's happening. So how do you do that?
One key problem in product development that we face is, what's the name for that? Feature creep. Feature creep is, you already have application that has been for some time in the stores, and you are growing your company a lot. When I came, there were 100 of us. Now are 300 of us. There was one team developing Sofascore core product. Now there are 4, even 5 teams working on the same product, and everybody has his goals and some sense of what to build. And you can get into feature creep, like you have so many features that the user do not see. There's a saying in Croatian, "Šume vidi drveća." Right, not see the forest from the trees. Or from the trees, that's right. And what you need UX research for is to know the users, at least the critical, subset of users, to know the right questions. So what are the right questions when they install the app? What is their question? I want to see my club. I want to see my team. I want to see Enkabibine. I want to see what are the results on this Sunday for any kind of league and matches. I want to see what was played in Turkey. I want to see. So what are the key questions? And there are two main approaches. How can you do that? One is, ask the people, ask the users. So that's UX research. And the other is check the data. And the key function, as we see it for UX research in 2025, to get us the right questions, to see that we do not lost users with additional features, to remove some features that are, just making it too crowded. And what is the role of product design? I would like to see product design even more into UX results, even more in knowing the user. And I mentioned before, we have 4, in some cases 5 different teams that are working on the same product. And what we developed, each of these teams behaves as a small Sofascore. So it has product owner that is, leading the roadmap, and all the capacities and all the resources and all the people that he needs is part of that team. We also organized it so that each team has UX researcher and analytics guy assigned. And it has product design inside it, specific product design, Android developers, iOS developers, web developers, backend, QA. We are trying to, and we are encouraging the team to be, as deep in product as they can from their everyday business.
Product minded.
Product minded, yes. And it is, it is our mission. It was our mission during 2024, and it will be even more emphasized in 2025. So every member of that team is part of the product. It has to be product minded. I don't know if I explained. So UX is part of the team, but what we see in 2025, we will give them more and more research independently to give us the right questions that the app needs to answer, especially for the new users. I've seen these interviews, when they start, when they install the app and run all around, it gets really funny. You need to catch them as soon as possible.
All right. So one of the most difficult thing to handle is user feedback. A lot of people don't want to give it because it's time wasting for them, but it's important to you. So how do you handle that? How do you get the most important data? Because one of the most important thing about getting user feedback, and let's say when you're building a user persona or something like that, is just structuring the questions so you don't lead them to, let's say, different answer that you don't actually want.
Well, I'm not an expert on UX research. What I noticed in 2024 and even before that, we were asking a lot of questions about the functionalities in the app. And functionalities in the app already gives them the answer. You have to do this because some obvious, something that are obvious to us, some button or everything, is not, people are blind to it. But what I would like to see more is, especially for the new users, what are the questions that we need to answer to them? There are different, as you mentioned, user personas. User persona is, it's my definition, what is his set of questions in that app. So you have sports fanatic, he will probably have his favorite team. If you have casual sports, he probably main question is, what are the results? Any kind of results. Uh, what it's really, if you need these questions, they're questions you need to you need to define specific kind of questions. If you are looking at these, already prepared prototypes of the design, you need to have different set of questions. I would say different types of research. I don't know if I answered your.
Yeah, I was just a bit curious about that because sometimes it's really difficult to get that feedback.
Real sorry, I did not mention what we also look, and it's, support team is in charge of it. Every 2 weeks or every month, okay, what is the store rating of the app, and give us, some summary of the comments that people gave on the stores, good comments, but also the bad ones that were attached to rating 1 or 2 on the stores, because it can detect some bugs, or it can detect, some UX failures. UX failure does not mean it could be bug, but it could be, the data was wrong. It could be a little backdoor for some, larger feature or larger question that we are not answering in the app. And also, people are writing to our support team. People are writing directly to product mail, and we are reading that, replying to it. It's a fine feedback. Now we have one guy. We noticed I think every month he's sending really good email to product, really detailed why he's using the app. You know, why did you remove this feature? And then he writes an essay. How he uses that feature, how it helps him in some of his specific problems. Questions that he has. And well, I'm really, looking forward next week. We will call him, to seeing him face to face, to meet that guy, and to get directly his feedback, because he's not, just some plain random user to us.
Sofascore is a really, really complex product, and it's becoming more and more complex. You're the chief product officer, and by that I mean you have a lot of things to oversee, a lot of features, a lot of other things that you have to, know that are happening. So how do you manage all of that? How do you get all the people that are beneath you that you're supervising? How do you actually trust them to say, okay, I don't have time to overlook this. I'm gonna give you the trust and let you do all the important work, and then you can report back to me what's happening, what's not happening, and so on.
Okay. There
A difficult question, I know. It's a difficult
it's
question,
really a difficult question, and
and I think we can have a whole other episode about that.
yes, and I would give you an answer soon, but I will tell you I'm still learning, and I will be learning, to the end of my life about this. Of course, it is your responsibility to give that strategy right. If you do not give it right, that's really, your mistake. And what is the problem with strategy? You will always get the same question: what is a strategy? So I will give you 2 extreme ways how to present the strategy. 2 extremes. One is I give you just the sentence: we want to be the top sports application in the world. That's the strategy. Do it.
Just do it. Find a way.
Find a way, do it. I'll see you when you apply here. The second one is I take all the product lines and all the key features that we want to work on in 2025, take a month of time with my principal product designer, develop a bunch of prototypes, and that's the strategy. And both of these extremes are actually, exist in different companies. And it really depends, how experienced and skilled are your people and teams in product management that are, that you hired. The thing in Croatia is that there are not many companies that work, not many tech companies that work on their product that are, similar in business and the way we work the product, like Sofascore. Including myself, when I came to Sofascore, I thought I knew a lot about product, but I knew about specific things. Yeah, it's a specific segment of products. When I came to Sofascore, I learned a lot. I'm still learning. We are definitely not a company that will give one sentence. Let's say you have a bunch of people that work sports apps for last 10 years, and they work in Facebook, Google, and all these product companies, and you hire them. You give them one sentence. There is a higher probability they will work with something. And there is a lot of knowledge in Sofascore still with founders. Founders have a great sense and feel for that user because they are the longest in that business, and they've seen a lot of successes and failures.
What works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and you learn a lot from that. So we are definitely not a company that will be one sentence, one objective. We want to be first, and okay, let's do it. So we are somewhere in the middle. If you go too deep with all these prototypes, then you're micromanaging, and you are not using the potential of the teams and product managers that you have hired. So you need to find, and it's really difficult to find, on that scale, find point where people will understand you, where you will give them enough context, enough information, so that all this other stuff they can do on their own. And then you are looking and giving the frequent feedback.
Okay. You mentioned that you guys, get data and see, what works, what doesn't, and both comes with that comes experience. So my question would actually be, how quickly can you see what works and what doesn't work? In that sense, I mean, maybe a feature, you could say off the bat, that's not going to work because X, Y, Z. Or let's say some of the processes that you set up when, let's say, working on a feature or maybe some other process. So how do you do that? I know it's a difficult question. I know part of the answer is experience.
Yes, experience is part of the solution, but it can also guide you to wrong direction. One thing that we do and we are doing more and more is A/B testing. Let's put something, you'll see if it hooks, and it's not always by the book. Analytics will always say, you need a significant number of users to be that statistically viable and all of that. But sometimes you need to put something to see, does it stick? That's the one way. And these are usually some smaller features. For greater features, it's a greater risk because you need to put a lot more time into it, and you need your time window to even experience some success is larger, wider. And what I concluded from my experience right now, no matter how big the new feature, the new project, the new application is big, find the smallest thing that you can develop and see if it sticks. Everything else costs you more, and there is a great possibility that you will develop something that does not resonate with the user. That's my experience for now. So that's the way. Yeah, A/B test is the simplest way to test something. The more complex is some kind of minimum viable product. Put it on and see if it sticks.
Part of developing a feature or whole product is having a good team. We did mention a little bit that before, but what do you think? What are the most important aspects of assembling the team? It's it might be also a good question for a CPO,
Mhm.
but let's say what's your biggest department for one feature? Do you have them split by features or yeah? So let's say you have a new feature. Uh, it's gonna take, let's say, 10 to 15 people to assemble a team. What would your approach be regarding, all right, we need this many software developers, we need this many designers, product managers, and product owners?
I will tell you a little bit how it is now, and then I will tell you a little bit, how I would like it to be. Uh, we divided all these teams by something that we call product stream. It's a specific larger topic that they do. What we also, since it's the same application, it's really risky. 5 teams are merging into the master branch of the source code at the same time, and you need somehow to divide all this to keep track of what they are working on. So product stream is specific topics. So I will tell you an example. One stream is where we are calling them sports stream, and their responsibility is, you have all the screens from all the sports that are not football. You can touch football, but it has to be, really cool feature, because we already have many features on the football. So all other sports. So first you have to find a product owner that is systematic, structured, that can prioritize, all these different ideas for different sports. And ideally, that is really sports fanatic. Know the rules, then know the users that will follow these sports and all that. So we build team around him. He gets product designer, because product designer in that discovery process of the product feature is the first person that he talks about some specific feature. We build about the team structure, about other software development roles that are in the team. We discuss with the engineering manager roles. These are, leads in software development. Okay, who are the best candidates? This is something that we are going to work on. This is, the topic that we are working. Give us, the best candidates. What they like, to have not only juniors inside of that team, but also have some, at least, part-time, some senior that will guide the process, so that you not put into too much risk, the stability, technical stability of the app. You also add quality assurance there, because it can speed up the process. It is better, for him to be from the inception of the feature and to see the design and prototypes, because it will make, process of QA much faster. That's how we build the team. And the crucial thing is, I would say, the trust between the team and the product owner. If they see the product owner really owns the domain and really knows what is he doing with that feature, why is he doing the feature, and what are the outcomes, and the product owner has the ability to communicate that well to the team, because team will challenge him, sometimes a lot, it builds trust. If there is no trust, members of the team will not be all that involved. And you need them involved, because you need their skills to make that feature even better.
So it's not only about the technical part, but also, let's say, the soft skills. What you mentioned, trust. You also mentioned now product owners. When I was doing my prep the last couple of days, I went around the office and I was asking people, all the employees, software developers, project managers, QAs. What's the difference between a product manager and a product owner? And from every single person, I got a different answer. Well, it's this, but actually, product owner is being a product manager, but it's not. But you also have to be the project man. So, what's your opinion about that? If you're a CPO, so what's your take on that?
It's a tough. I will give you, my description and my experience on that role. So that role in Sofascore is product owner. And I would say the only way the tech product company will work and give the success and right results if the product owner is actually product manager. Product owner is a specific, term that was invented and that came with specific methodology of work, agile methodology, Scrum, that has a role of product owner. And what happens when you recruit a product owner that has, Scrum, agile, education, and certificates? It's like all of that process is set up from the perspective of software development. We need to have these ceremonies, we need to prepare, write the tickets, estimate the tickets, and deliver at the end. And it's not what agile methodologies say, but it often happens, that these people, product owners, certified product owners, are more focused on the process than the real result of the feature, the result outcome. And the great quality, the one quality of the product manager that I would emphasize, he's responsible for the result, for the final outcome and the result. Does it solve these key questions of the users, key problems, and does the user really uses that feature? Many of the product owners I've seen were like backlog administrators. They have these tasks, then they have these ceremony standard, they do the estimation, all of that, and what is risk that you're just building up features that does not mean anything, that do not produce actual value. Yeah. And product manager is all about the value. What I also noticed, when you put a job ad with the title, product manager in Croatian or market, there are a lot of specific people that are applying to that job that are not from tech industry, that do not have any knowledge of the technology, that are really, really high level product managers, much closer to some kind of sales roles in telcos and bank industries. When you put a job ad with product owner, then there is a greater possibility that you will get the right, skills at the candidate. And successful product manager is he wears many hats. He's structured. He picks the right stuff into the backlog. He prioritizes the stuff that has the most value for the user. He needs to be aware of some details of the UX, of the design. He needs to track the data to pick, to have arguments in data, for picking some specific feature or topic. He needs to communicate well to the team, because if he has the best knowledge and he's, the silent guy that nobody understands, the team will not trust him. It is very difficult role. Whoever you employ, as me, you have to learn, you have to learn the domain, the sports domain and the sports users in our specific case. So it's not something that you will, find university certificate and say, oh, this is a good product manager, it needs to have some experience, but there is, that both technical and soft skills and right combination of that. When I say soft skills, I consider some business feel into that group of skills.
And one of the most important things about product managers is they need to have a vision. Whole thing. It's just not enough, right? I have the data and so on. Let's do it, because that's not gonna turn out good. And we also mentioned before we started recording, you also need to have people beneath the product managers, software developers, QAs, and designers that has to be product minded. And that's something that you at Sofascore really push because that's what actually differentiates your product from other
Yeah.
companies. And what I also wanted to mention in that light, because of product-minded people that you have at your company, how do you manage to differentiate yourself from other, let's say, rivaling companies in the industry? But I mean, let's say LiveScore, FlashScore. So where do you jump in here with your different approach?
Mhm. LiveScore and FlashScore are our biggest competitors, as you mentioned. But the key thing that they are missing, I think, is that emotional part. And Sofascore released Sofascore statistical player rating in 2015, and we were way ahead. LiveScore still does not have it. FlashScore, I think they released it in 2023. Then that was a huge amount of time that they waited for that one moment that adds some flavor to the results. And what we also do with these graphical representation of data, people are visual, and if you give that graphical stuff to the data that is not all that exciting, when you just watch the numbers and tables, it gives additional nice package to it all. I would say that is the first our advantage. The second one that we are working on, I think, is crowdsourcing project. We talked about editor, but the crowdsourcing is something different. It's on top of editor. And I think in the future, when you see all these AI tools, there will be more and more digital products. It's 10 years ago, you really need a skilled team and the developers, which were actually scarce resource to build, the application, release it to store. Now, a lot of it has been automated. AI generators help you write code faster and deliver faster and automate all these steps. There will be a lot of applications similar to Sofascore. If you connect that digital tool with some process or community in the real world, that will be the real value. So there will be abundance of different apps, tools. But if somebody relate the Sofascore with everyday or every week events and some community that is around that event, especially for the leagues and tournaments that are not the top one, because I do not know many professional footballers, but I have a lot of relatives that play football at these leagues, and it builds different kind of emotional connection. Some of my relatives that are currently playing are kids, and in 5-10 years they will be possibly professional players, and they will already be connected to the community of the Sofascore, and this will be just the tool that serves that community. And I think that is the second part that really differs us from the competition. None of them is going into that direction.
So you're using data, but actually what you're building on the whole product is emotions and community, which is something really.
These are the flavors.
Because sometimes when I don't know, let's say I go on your Instagram page, LinkedIn page, I if someone were to tell me, okay, they have just sports scores and stuff like that, I wouldn't get that idea, because usually your posts are we're partnered with this club, it's happening this, we're giving out awards and stuff like that. So it's something completely different.
We are into the community.
Yeah, and what we mentioned, it's a visionary approach.
Yeah,
Completely
visionary
approach, long term. Where do you see, let's say, Sofascore in 5 years? What do you hope that you're going to achieve? I know it's a difficult question because things can change, but let's say in 5 years, what do you hope to see?
One of our founders, Ivan, he always repeats, I would like to see any match with referee in Sofascore. So if there is no referee, it's kind of, we can play outside of this building, basketball. But if there is a referee, there's some, it's a serious, match. I would like to see at least 10 top markets covered by 90 or more percent of the amateur and semi-amateur sports. At least top 10 markets. What I would like to see all these people in that time period to engage with Sofascore app and to call your users and to see that the users on Sofascore application has exceeded 100 million, and that most of them are returning because of these crowdsourcing and community related projects. I would be satisfied with that. I think that would track that that would be, like a trigger for some other goals that I will not tell here. But if you have the community, if you have the large number of users, much more other things are possible.
Okay, so I mean, it's really, I can guess, abstract right now, but it can solidify in the next couple of years.
I would say if you have all these matches in the app, you have all these players in the app. If you have the results, people will come and see the app, and it builds organically builds the community.
Yeah, that's the goal, actually. Yes, organically grow everything.
To be part, it's maybe too far, but to be part of the sports culture, not just, let's see what the results are. There is a Sofascore. I can use it whenever we are in some kind of sports engagement.
I think that's pretty much it. I don't have any other questions. Is there anything that you'd like to add? I know that we can, every segment that we talked about, we can have a different episode, but I don't know is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think we covered pretty much everything that we prepared. I would like to thank you for this podcast. It was fun experience for me, and I hope I'll see you soon with some other where we can speak about other topics.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, and good luck with the Sofascore vision. And thanks.